So, the Heart Unbound, Metta as a Path to Insight. I'm going to start with a poem. And this was written by Amrita Nadi, who's a very good friend of mine from Bristol. She wrote it in India in 2013. And it's called This Smile Isn't Mine. This smile isn't mine. It belongs to the leaf shadow that's dancing dark curves over smooth slate in front of me. It belongs to the torn and faded line of prayer flags fluttering and twirling above my head in the breeze. It belongs to the sun's heat that's pouring down over me and glowing inside. It belongs to the people who planted, tended, harvested, and cooked the food that lies with warm contentment in my stomach. It belongs to the birds that skip through trees all around me, singing their lives. It belongs to the river that's curling its melody through the parched earth next to me. It belongs to all those at home who love and care for me, who I sit with here in my heart. This smile isn't mine, and nor is this gratitude. So, any loving kindness, any opening of the heart that arises whilst we're here, same thing, can't really say that it's mine, me or mine. Any struggle, painful states of heart-mind, pain in the body, anguish, anxiety, same. Why? Because arisen out of so many conditions. So many conditions. So this is one of the ways, and there are lots of ways, but this is one of the ways that we're going to be emphasizing. One of the ways to use metta practice to cultivate wisdom, insight. So it's to see, for teacher Samripada, see conditionality, see our embeddedness in conditions in and through the practice of cultivating or opening to metta. And then through that, see the conditioned nature of all experience, all of it. But we can use metta as an example. So we're going to be exploring what conditions allow this heart to open in this moment. What actually works? Not what we think should work, but what actually works. So, in exploring that, in exploring the conditions for metta, we can use that just to cultivate metta more effectively. We can actually just use that, and at the same time we can allow that to bring insight, to bring wisdom into the nature of things. Allow it to reveal our conditioned nature, our embeddedness, our inseparability from all of life. So then, if we take this approach, in a sense, it doesn't really matter what is arising in our experience. And there's going to be this whole range of experience. Independence on conditions. We know this, we've been on a retreat. You know, it's bumpy sometimes. And actually, that's just what's happening. And it's an opportunity. All of it is an opportunity to practice. It's an opportunity to turn towards our experience, and it's an opportunity to see Praticca Samuppada, to know Praticca Samuppada, to see a conditioned nature. And of course, often it's pretty mysterious. We can't know it all, actually. We can have a sense of some of it, but we can't. You know, why does this smile arise in this moment? There's a mysteriousness there in how conditionality operates. The sheer number of conditions. Maybe it's something to do with something our grandfather said to us when we were 5. Unknowable. So we can use whatever's arising to practice metta, to practice insight. So an example would be in meditation and our mind drifts. It's an opportunity to practice patience, kindness, and insight. We can just reflect. This distraction, it's conditions, 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 conditions. And then we don't have to take it so personally. This is part of what insight practice can allow, can bring a freedom from this self-clinging and the kind of identifying everything as me and mine, a freeing up, a bigger view, a vastness even, of perspective. So there can be an unburdening from this weight, this heaviness of taking it as me and mine. So, in this exploring of conditions for metta, it's going to be particular conditions that we're going to be looking at. We probably don't know all of them yet. The retreat kind of has a life of its own and unfolds. You can't sort of pin it all down at the beginning, but there are particular ones that we're wanting to look at because they're so fundamental. And perhaps number one is the body. First foundation of mindfulness. You could say first foundation of metta, perhaps. The body, opening in the body. As a condition for metta. And really seeing that works. Having confidence in that. Beauty of nature, song, poetry, noticing what effect that has on the heart. And in that we're all going to be different. What are the particular things? Another thing we want to explore is what's sometimes called the heart wish. In the Tibetan tradition, they talk about the heart wish. So it's our kind of deepest level of longing, our deepest ideals, what we long for on the deepest level, what we want to embody. And connecting with that, what's really most important to us, with what we really want to serve and embody in this life. Seeing how that affects the heart. And then this remembering of our inseparability. So there's this kind of two-way movement on this retreat it's metta as a path to insight. metta to allow insight to unfold, and then the other way as well. So that insight feeds metta, metta feeds insight, and insight feeds metta. So this knowing of inseparability, that wisdom aspect, see how that, what effect does that have on the heart. And so Maitri Devi was talking last night about the retreat context, the retreat community, and how it's such great conditions for taking that knowing and seeing of our inseparability, of our conditioned nature, into action. Practicing, clocking each other, being sensitive to each other, metta, generosity, and allowing that to be an acting from the knowing of our inseparability. So we see it and know it, and then we act from it. And in that, we can embed it, integrate it, deepen it. So it's a little bit like with ethical practice. I think this is talked about on ethics retreats, that you cultivate skillful intention, and then skillful action unfolds from that. But also you don't have to wait for skillful intention or motivation. You might be feeling really grumpy and you're reluctant to do something, but then you do it anyway, and that in itself turns around and affects the intention. So, yeah, and there's a parallel there with ethical practice. It's possible to use ethical practice as just another way to give ourselves a hard time, to criticize ourselves for unskillfulness, which takes a lot of energy and isn't kind. Or we can use it as a way to see the conditionality of our experience. What actually conduces to the skillful, what conduces to the unskillful. And in that, see the conditioned nature of it all. And lighten that burden of the clinging, of the me and mine. So Maitri Devi was talking about the retreat as a co-arising, as something we can sort of have a vision of it as a collective gift to all beings. That's how she spoke about it. A gift to all beings, to all of life. And that can be a way we can really take this seeing of our inseparability. Another way to go deeply into that. Perhaps particularly if we're kind of getting a bit entangled in what's arising in this heart-mind, we can come back to that. There can be an opening. We're conditions for each other. We're offering something together. So, yeah, we're going to be exploring loving kindness and insight in quite a range of ways. I mean, quite a lot of people mentioned the Metta Bhavana practice last night when we went around. And, of course, we will be doing some 5-stage Metta practice, but that's by no means the only practice that we're going to be focusing on. So, particularly perhaps if you find that practice not so easy, don't worry, because loving kindness is far vaster than any one practice. It's just one way in, and we're going to be offering lots of different ways in. And we are all so different. And that's so much part of maturing in practice, is really just knowing, seeing and knowing and trusting what works, what really works for me, what works for this heart-mind right now.